Ajaya Haikerwal joins us from Solar Citizens. He's going to be in Mulwala soon on the 18th of April. And Ajaya, you're talking about electric utes. What's the benefits of driving an electric ute?
Well, Ricky, we're driving around the first electric ute in Australia. It's the first commercially available one. It's not going to be the last by any means. And we're here to just showcase this new technology and say that, hey, this sort of vehicle is coming. This is the sort of vehicles that lots of Australians love. We know that utes sell really well, Hiluxes, Ford Rangers, those sorts of things sell really well, and this technology is here, and it's going to save you big bucks when you're driving around because we've been driving all throughout our regional Vic in New South Wales lately and saving going past many petrol pumps that are $2, $2.20 per litre for petrol and even more for diesel. And we've been filling up a tank in quote-unquote for around $20. So it's going to save you a lot of money over time. It's quieter. It's less noxious fumes coming out of the exhaust. It's a really pleasant driving experience, actually.
Well, tell us first of all about the range. You've gone for a drive from Sydney down to Melbourne through regional New South Wales and Victoria. I mean, how many times did you need to recharge in the ute you're driving? And actually, tell us the model of ute you're actually driving too.
Yeah, totally. So we're driving an LDV ET60. And the range of that is it's quoted at around 330 kilometres. Now, that's going to be more in the cities and less when you're driving longer distances. It kind of works in the reverse of a petrol vehicle. But yeah, the range is okay. It's kind of not. It's kind of suitable for city driving. Really, it's really not the perfect vehicle to be going long distances. But there are better vehicles, better utes coming in the future, but we'll only do that if we fix the federal policies that are sort of blocking that at the moment.
Yeah, we'll talk policies in a little while, but about the ute and for some of those that might be wanting to use this electric ute on farms, there's talk about the torque, excuse the pun, and how good it is with these utes. And I imagine if you were just using it largely for the farm and going down to the local shops, it may not actually be a bad thing to be considering.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's the torque is incredible, and that's most apparent to us. We don't work on farms, but the torque comes most into consideration. We're at the traffic lights, stopped at a red. You've got a sports car next to you, just sort of eyeing you off, like, oh yeah, I'm going to overtake you. We put our foot down and fly right in front of them because all that torque is available instantly. I think it's around 310 newton meters of torque available there, so it's not as much as a Ranger or a Raptor just yet. But better ones will be coming in the future.
And you are doing this roadshow, I notice, you're in Mulwala soon in a couple of weeks. Are you planning to go further west, perhaps into western parts of Victoria or even into South Australia?
We're not currently, actually. We've only got the ute on loan for around a few more months now, so we've got that until the middle of the year, and we're sort of going up the east coast, taking it into sort of the Newcastle region, the Hunter, and then into sort of regional Queensland, up through the basin and cutting into sort of probably maybe Townsville way if we can make it, but we'll see how we go.
Yes, and I imagine just on the charging front, were there enough charging stations on the route that you went on? Or I know they're getting put in by local councils and supported by state and federal government funding all over the regions at the moment.
Yeah, there are more and more charging stations popping up every day, and we noticed one that wasn't there when we left Melbourne, and one was there on the way back in Wangaratta. So yeah, they're popping up all over the place. There's a lot of people trying to pour money into this at the moment because they can see it's a really beneficial thing and there's a good return on that investment. And it also invests in the local community. So if you put a charger at a local shopping front, all that people stop, charge for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and invest in the local community. They might go buy something from the shops or have a coffee or something, and that's the money that's taken away from big petrol corporations and put back into local communities. But yeah, we're having a really great experience with charging. We haven't run out of battery and haven't really been stressed by that at all. And we've also got just in case, we have special adapters to let us plug into a caravan outlet, or just you can charge on a standard power plug, but it takes a very long time to do that.
Yeah, and how much do you actually have to pay at a charging station? You talked about driving past petrol stations with unleaded or diesel around the $2 mark. How much is it per, kilowatt hour? What is the measurement for charging an electric ute?
It's cents per kilowatt hour, and it ranges from around, some charges are free at the moment, some councils are just subsidising that at the moment, and other charges go up to maybe 60 cents per kilowatt hour. And our battery is 88 kilowatt hours, so it's not going to be more than $30-$40 tops. But we've basically in the trip from Melbourne to Sydney and back, we're sort of on the way back now. We've spent around $250 on charging, and that's doing a lot of driving, getting out to other places as well. So not too bad, I'd say.
Yeah, so $30 to $40 for around a 330k range, and that's more so city driving than country, I think you were saying.
Correct, yeah.
Now, on your website, what is it, solarcitizens.org.au, people can find out more information about maybe even other utes you might be test driving in future?
This is probably the only one we're going to be test driving, but we will be having some at the events that we're running for the one in Mulwala, and we've got some in, I think, Seymour and Yakandanda, or potentially, I can't quite remember off the top of my head. There'll be other electric vehicles present, so we're sort of trying to invite owners who have electric vehicles into those events, so to sort of show off what's available to the community. And those EV owners know so much about their vehicles because they're really excited about that new technology. They've sort of had their own experience, and they're the best experts, honestly. We're not the experts on it. We may be slightly more expert on this ute now after driving it, but people who've had that first-hand experience of driving EVs, they're probably the best people to talk to about this.
And just lastly, you did flag about a policy change that needs to happen in this space to, I guess, encourage the uptake of electric vehicles and indeed electric utes when more become available on the Australian market. What are some of those policy initiatives that need to be adopted?
Yeah, so we've been in Canberra in the last week talking to federal politicians about a rule called fuel efficiency standards. This is something that happens all over the world, and we're kind of one of two G20 countries who doesn't have it, so it's us and Russia. Not great company to be in at the moment. And basically what this is rules that car makers have to meet overseas. It's just getting up to speed with the rest of the world. At the moment, we're in a completely different queue for electric vehicles in the rest of the world, so we want to join the same queue. But it's also there's no point joining at the back of that queue, so with a terrible policy, really. So we've kind of got to get that policy right so we get somewhere in the middle or even at the front of that queue to get our fair share of electric vehicles. And that's a range of different electric vehicles, so other utes and affordable models as well. There's around 20 affordable models available in Europe at the moment, and none available in Australia. So none under that $40,000 mark, and that's pretty expensive for most people. So we really need to see a better diversity of vehicles over here, and we'll only get that if we fix fuel efficiency standards.
Now, for a fuel efficiency standard, I gather that might be a bit like if you're buying a washing machine or a fridge, you've got the stars there that show how water efficient or indeed energy efficient it is. Is this something would at least require that disclosure when you're buying a car of how fuel efficient it is?
Yeah, at the moment, Australia gets the most inefficient vehicles sent to us because they can be sold here because we don't have those rules in place. But if we do put those rules in place, car makers will have to meet a certain limit with their cars, and then that decreases over time, and our vehicles will just become more efficient, and Australians will save more money. We sort of did a calculation of what Australians could save, and it's around $11.2 billion over 5 years that's invested in the local communities and not sent overseas to petrol companies.
Well, Ajaya, enjoy that country hospitality in Euroa and elsewhere like Mulwala, and have safe travels all over regional Australia promoting electric utes.
Appreciate it, Ricky. Thanks for your time.